But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of
your shirt. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That is right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, boys and girls, to the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. This is the 9x9, episode 112. It is Monday, March 11th, 2024. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That, of course, is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto. It is a big week in volleyball in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, which we will get to towards the end of the show. But it's also daylight savings time, so things have gotten a little scrambled with our time relations to the rest of the world, because I know like we hit that over the weekend and Europe still doesn't spring forward for another couple weeks. I don't know. It's very confusing, but we're going to talk some volleyball, and wherever you are and whatever the hell time it is, we're glad that you're here with us.
Bro, daylight savings time messed me up yesterday.
Oh yeah.
It's always weird when Superliga games are going on at 3:30, right?
That's weird.
That's a weird. And for some reason, because like the first game started at 11 yesterday, and then the last one started at 3:30. I was exhausted. Like I was over watching volleyball by the end of it. Like Perugia was winning. I was like, I don't want to watch them win because Verona sucks. But it was a long day yesterday, and it's just that damn whatever daylight savings that we do that just messes me up. It messes me up. It messes me up.
Thanks, Ben Franklin, the man himself. That was his idea back in the day.
Was that one of his things?
Oh yeah, one of his many. But we're not here to talk about Be Frank. We're here to talk about volleyball. We are going to talk about, just like Everett said, the men's scudetto playoffs in Italy, because since our last show last week, there have been two rounds.
I wouldn't call them. Let's call them some spicy rounds.
They're pretty spicy.
Two fun days of watching some volleyball, for sure.
It has. It was two very fun days of watching ball. Last Wednesday with all the games at the same time, and then, like Everett said, yesterday, Sunday, with all the games much more spread out. But sure enough, only one of our 4 quarterfinal series is tied 1-1. That is Milano and Piacenza. Perugia kind of predictably leads Verona 2-0. Trento pretty predictably leads Modena 2-0. And not so predictably, Volley Canada. Monza leads Lube 2-0. So we got plenty to catch up on, Everett. Your call where you want to start.
I want to start with Monza, obviously. That's the obvious one. And I think that's probably one of the most intriguing series too. Everyone's saying, it's kind of surprised, but may I remind you, Monza is 4-1 against Lube over the past 2 seasons now. Right. And now we improved that to 6-1 over the past 2 seasons. So that's a bit of a domination on the Monza side, and that's exactly what we've seen over the past 2 games. Game 1 was the Eric Lepke show, as people were saying in the Discord. He was the best player in the court. He had 28 points in the game. He was absolutely phenomenal, and just really kept Lube at bay. Like
look at his happy face. Look at this beautiful.
Oh yeah, look, like he is absolutely stoked. You see that second set there, 11. Like that is not pretty. You go into game 2, Lepke not as good. Off the bench comes Stephen Marr, but it was the MVP, all about Ran Takahashi. It was his first full match since being back from injury. He looked absolutely fantastic. You have Arthur Schwartz there because he's been serving a couple aces.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? But ultimately, too, big ups to Stephen Marr, who started this one on the bench, came in for Lepke and lit it up. Like came in off the bench a little bit in the first and a little bit in the third, started the fourth, 12 points and just over a set's worth of work for Stephen Marr. So he was phenomenal. Rob, you said it earlier in the season. Monza's a really good team when they're serving well. They have been serving fantastically recently. Like some of these sets, Lube is not getting anywhere near to be able to run the middle just because they're off the net all match long.
10 aces to 21 service errors in match number 2. 10 aces in 4 sets is a lot, and I know 21 is a lot, but that ratio is perfectly fine. And the point I was just about to make is what Kenny just put in the chat. How great is it for Monza to have 3 legitimate starting caliber outside hitters and to have the flexibility within the foreigner limit to use them without constraint, because that I think is another really big thing in this series. Lube Civitanova, what they would like to do is start 5 foreigners. They can't do that, so they have to pick either Bartolomé Chinese in the middle or one of their 2 outside hitters, Alex Nikolov and Marlon Yant. They have to pick one of those guys to bench, because you're not going to bench Luciano De Cecco, and even if you did, your backup setter is foreign as well. So we've kind of seen them bench Chinese in the middle and go with Diamantini and Anzani so that they can play Nikolov and Yant on the left. But even like when that hasn't worked out, Bottolo's come in and Chinese's come in, and it's just all a scrambled disaster for John Lorenzo Blangini. And I want to give Massimo Achelli, the head coach of Monza, a lot of credit for how he's used all 3 guys. And the buy-in from all 3 guys to not be afraid of starting the match on the bench, because there's such a high probability that they're going to be needed at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Using those 3 guys effectively is what Monza's going to need to do. You know, Arthur's going to Arthur, right? Like Arthur's going to go out there. He's going to be a beast. He's going to score some. He's going to score some for the other team. Like he just need to accept that. Recently, he has been serving well. You've mentioned that, but their ability to go interchangeably, even throughout the entire roster. I really think too that Monza has been using that mismatch in the middle to their favor. Like if you look at game 2, both Galassi and Di Martino were on the board consistently, both with 9 points.
Di Martino was sick down the stretch in game 2 as well.
6 for 7 offensively for
a bunch of blocks in a row. There was a key blocking stretch that he went on in set number 4 that really helped him get the thing done.
Yeah. In the last game, 8 blocks and 10 aces for Monza, which is huge compared to 5 blocks and only 3 aces for Lube. You look at those serving numbers, they're a little bit more on Monza's side, 21 errors to 10 aces, but 3 errors to 17 aces is really not good.
That's pretty rough.
There's one thing I want to say though, Rob. We saw Lube be on the ropes last year. Like this is not, like this isn't, we've seen this story before, let's say. So I am fully pulling for Monza to win this one. That would be absolutely huge. But there's no way in hell. Like if you're a Monza fan and you think this one is done and dusted, like
dead wrong.
There's no way this Lube team, it's just in their DNA, right? Good teams win, right? Last year they figured out how to win and they made it to the finals, when all year it didn't look like that. You can't let up on this Lube team, and we really have to see kind of what's going to be available and what changes they're going to be making. We're going to see Ivan Zaitsev get injected back into the starting lineup. Like what changes are they going to make? Because there's no doubt that they need to solidify their serve receive. Last year they did it by bringing in Zaitsev to pass a little bit. Is that what we're going to be seeing again? Like, is he even available? I have no idea of what Zaitsev's status is at the moment.
I don't think he is. I mean, he's on the stat sheet as having dressed at libero in match 2 yesterday. But right. we haven't seen him play in at least a month, probably longer. And I don't think he's the answer. I just think you just got to figure out how to pass the ball better. I mean, somehow you have to hide Marlon Yant. He was a massive liability yesterday. Only 37% positive and aced 5 times. Like that's not going to do it. And however, just like you said, Lube has been here before. Mm-hmm. And Monza's key to success so often is scoring, is serving as sort of an avenue to breakpoint generation. You talk about their massive statistical lead in serving and blocking. That is a volatile way to win. That serving, that relatively good serving level that we've seen the last 2 matches can go away at any moment, especially with a week between matches, because the teams that are playing Champions League are going to do that in the middle of the week. Monza's got all week to kind of chill and get themselves achieving a Nova Marche and get ready for game 3. So this series is definitely not over yet. But the other thing I really want to point out here is a reminder of the stakes, because if you do not make it out of the quarterfinals, you are not playing Champions League next year.
Yeah.
When is the last time we did not see Lube Civitanova playing in Champions League? It has been a while.
That is a long time. I mean, it's coming up in the stat here too. Lube has been to 6 straight scudetto finals already. In like there's a lot of line on the line for Lube in this. You know what? As much as I hate to say it, I would almost call Lube in game number 3.
Oh, like, for sure. I would bet my life on it.
Yeah, like I don't see. I would be massively surprised if we saw this series be a 3-dong. I would be massively surprised, mostly because as you said, Rob, multiple times, Monza is wins well when they're a good serving team, but they are known to turn off as a serving team sometimes. So I think
It's the nature of the beast.
You go back to Lube, but at the same time, you mentioned like Monza has an entire week to prepare for this one match, to rest up for this one match. Lube doesn't have that luxury. Lube has to play Champions League, and that's another huge thing to understand. And if you're Lube right now, you look at like you have to weigh it out. You have a massive opportunity against an undermanned Trentino team in the semifinals of the Champions League. What do you weigh out? What matters to you more, right? Obviously they both matter, but like that opportunity for the Champions League is right there for your taking, right? There's no foreigner limit. Trento is shorthanded with their setup, and you have the scudetto playoffs to work. So it's going to be a big week for Lube Civitanova, hands down. I'm going to say it. This is the biggest week. This is the biggest week in their club's history in the past 6 years.
Very possibly, yeah. But, I mean, they have won Scudettos in the last 6 years, but the stakes are high because, like you said, they have a golden opportunity in Champions League. Talk about that in a minute, and it would be pretty much unprecedented for this team not to make it past the quarterfinals. So they've got a lot to talk about this week. Otis Legume's just going to have to continue to be the man. He has been their best player really all season. And then we're going to have to get a vintage Luciano Di Cecco performance, especially if this team can't pass him the ball. He has got to be the best, most locked-in version of himself if they're going to stave off elimination.
Last time Lube was in the Champions League was 2010, Rob St. Clair. That's what we're on the verge of right now. But you're right. There is one man right now who can fix all of this for Lube. Yep. There is one man who can make up for their shortcomings. There is one man who can pull them through this. That one man has not been good this year. That one man has not been great this series. That one man may be going through some emotional turmoil, if we can understand, if the rumors are true. And I'm, I don't run a website that rhymes with Hollywood, so we don't really talk about the blogosphere, let's say, like the tabloids, but he has been notably bad since about the fall when certain breakoffs were rumored to happen.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. But I agree with you. I think Lube wins game 3.
Yep, I think so too. As much as like they're going to figure out how, and he will no longer be DeChungus, he will be DeCecco, and I'm sure we're going to see absolute magic from him.
Yep, I can see it now. They're going to win game 3. Monza's not going to serve the ball very well, and then I guarantee you, I will probably say word for word on next week's show, all right, Monza's golden opportunity to win the series is in game 4 at home, because if they don't, they go game 5 back to Lube.
I think their best opportunity is right now. I think if you start going home, and if you open the door for Lube, you know what? This reminds me of 2004 ALCS between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees are up 3-0, and they said, "Don't let us win tonight. Don't let us win tonight, because then we get rolling." And that's exactly what Lube should be going down.
Nice pull, a 20-year-old baseball reference from the guy who on last week's show said that baseball's the worst sport in the world.
Worst sport in the world, the best storytelling sport in the world. Are you kidding me? Like seeing that the Red Sox like shaking off the curse of the Bambino. Oh,
they are very, very, very good at storytelling. All right, which series do you want to go to next?
Let's go to Modena Trento. I just want to touch on it briefly. Because this one, game 1, not interesting at all.
Nope, not at all.
I didn't even watch it a little bit. It's like Modena didn't get the scouting report that Trento said or was there. That this was the best opportunity to be relevant again for the first time in years. No, they just didn't understand any of that.
Now, I only have 2 things to say about this game, because there's a lot to talk about game 2. The first is that I thought Alessandro Acquarone was good. I won't say great.
Solid.
He was solid, and he even looks like Riccardo Spertoli because he's completely bald and has the same beard, which is funny.
He does.
The other thing, 8 aces, only 9 service errors. Spectacular. Like amazing serving. But this obviously the drama here was in game number 2. Deep 5-setter. Modena led 2-1. Modena dominated set number 3, 25-15.
Dude,
at home.
Set number 3 was one of those sets that they couldn't have done anything wrong.
Absolutely.
You know? I swear to God, like someone could have farted on the ball and it would have scored an 8. Like it would have scored a point. Like it was unreal. I think the infusion of Anton Brema from the bench was massive. Sorry, Daddy, but Brema was huge, and that team was rolling.
Dude, Brema's 6 for 6 with 6 blocks. Come on,
that's filthy. Those are filthy numbers. But one thing about this Trento team, and this is what we've seen consistently from them all year long, whenever they've been slapped in the face, they've come back and won the next set. They adjust better than any other team, which is crazy considering that they have a new coach.
New coach and a backup setter. It's incredible.
You know what? And I thought that they were on the heels in this one. Like I thought at the end of that third set, Modena's up by 2. Modena has all the momentum. They win the long one, 28-26, and they dominate. And like, how many times have you seen in a match, Rob Sinclair, where one team goes into overtime and the next thing, like the game's over?
Yep.
Right. It goes from tied to 1-1 to 3-1 in a blink of an eye. And I thought that's what's going to be. This one was going to be. I was like, ooh, Modena making things a little spicy. I like it. But then Micheletto and Lavia just came back and they started doing what the best players in the world do. They brought their game to another level. And it was honestly so much fun to watch.
It was fun to watch. And Modena, even despite us saying all that, Modena had this game. They were up 12-9 in the 5th.
Yep.
And they allowed a 6-1 run at home to lose that match, go down 0-2 in the series, and now it's over. It is over. The series is done. They will go to Trento on, I can't remember if it's this Saturday or Sunday. It doesn't matter. If Modena took a set, I would be stunned. Their season is over. And they lost it in that 5th set when they had a chance to win the match, up 12-9 in the 5th. And just couldn't put it away. Vlad Daviskiba is, I do have to give him a massive amount of credit, playing out of position because Maxim Sapochkov has been such a huge disappointment. And he goes 19 for 41 for 21 points. Like, he's just trying his best to put the team on his back. He's really one of the most underrated all-around players in the league, or maybe even the world. But it's not enough. Trentino's just better than them in every area. And we're way, way more clutch and ready for the moment, down 9-12 in the 5th, than Modena was on the winning side of that.
You really have to wonder why Brema wasn't being played all year long. And let's be all honest. We love Daddy, and he's essentially a meme to us in the best way possible. But there's no way that he should be starting consistently over Anton Brema. And like we kind of saw it in this one. But ultimately, Rob, like this Modena team just isn't good. It's not put together well. Like the fact that they went out and bought Shapochkov, I think was a massive mistake. Like anyone who watched him last year saw that his second half of the season was remarkably different than his first half of the season. And he gets blocked way too much for a guy who's 7'1".
Yes,
he
does.
It just is. It is what it is. Juantorena, like, yeah, sure, he's still going out there scoring 16 points, but like, at what cost? Make errors, getting blocked 3 times. Just the efficiency isn't there. They're not strong down the middle, especially when they have Daddy and Sanguinetti there. And Rinaldi has almost regressed from last year. And maybe not. He hasn't. I don't know if he's regressed, but that's not necessarily fair. But
he's not that good.
He just hasn't improved at all. Like I thought he took a massive leap from the year before to last year, and then there has been it stayed stagnant since then, which is unfortunate. But at the other end, like this Trento team doesn't take a huge hit by having Acquarone in there. Yeah, like they do, but they're still solid. And I think they're going to be able to finish things off against this Modena team.
Yeah, this series is over. I mean, there's no question about it. Acquarone definitely is not Riccardo Spertoli, but he's doing a good job, and the system around him he does look like him. System around him has worked very well. Also a great game from Jan Kozamernik in the middle with 6 blocks. And like the one issue I have with Acquarone's setting is his connection to the middles. It hasn't looked very crisp to me.
No, I mean,
but it doesn't matter because if you can get Lavia and Micheletto, and even Camille Rikliski, Tricycle Man, if you can get them in hittable positions, that right there is enough to win this series. Next series is a different story.
You can see it in the rhythm of the offense, just how many times, like Micheletto especially, is holding back. Like he's someone who likes to dive in on his a little bit, especially when Spurtoli is there. Those two understand each other and know each other so well. And just Aquarone is like the rhythm isn't there, and the location is a little bit off as well too.
Yep.
It's the only thing. It's the only thing that the side angle is good for, is just seeing where that location is for left side hitters. Nothing else.
Yeah, so it's ball off the net a little too far.
Rob, you want Verona, Perugia, Milano, Piacenza?
Sure. Let's do Verona, Perugia. I think it should be quick. These have been this is probably the most predictable series I may have ever watched.
Yeah.
You know, Verona lights it up for a game. They try and serve the cover off the ball. They take a set here and there, and then Perugia remembers, oh, wait a minute, we are way, way better than this team, and you have Radostin Stoichev as your head coach.
For me, it just comes down to the fact that Verona likes to bully teams with their physicality, and you can't do that against Piacenza, right? You can't do that against a team that has Leon on the bench, right? And Plotnitsky is undersized, but you can't bully him physically. Semeniuk,
dude, Kamil Semeniuk looks like he might be the second best player in the world.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Right now, for me, it's Micheletto 1, Semeniuk 2. Like he is. Let's honestly pretend that last season never happened.
Yeah.
Last season of Semeniuk being shitty is a complete myth, as someone said in the Discord. Because his response, like he's hitting his 4-4 shot is before he used to do his 4-4 shot kind of underneath the block or just outside the block. He's going straight OT now over the block on some of these, which is absolutely filthy. Like it's just disgusting. But yeah, Verona, they love to come out strong. They love to come out fiery. Like you have Mozic, you have Keita. And then Perugia just nicely weathers the storm and goes on. Like if you look at, is this game 2?
This is game 1, where Wasim Bentara was just nasty, 15 for 23 with only 1 error, which is insane. And Semeniuk was great. But for me, it's, how many times have we said it? Verona's complete inability to pass the ball. 9 aces, only 14 errors for Perugia. Only 43% positive passing as a team for Verona. That's actually not terrible. Their perfect passing numbers are terrible. Getting ace 10 times is not acceptable. Rock Mozic really bad in reception. We even saw a little bit of Nomori Keita at outside hitter, which is crazy. Like a complete Hail Mary, which made no sense to me. And like kind of like you were saying, Perugia is what Verona wishes they were.
100%. Absolutely.
So Verona just is better, or Perugia is just better than them at playing the style of game that they both want to play.
Yeah. If we look into the second game match, the second match though, these Kamil Semeniuk numbers are just absolutely insane. 17 for 31, only 1 error, with 2 blocks in his ace. They had to start going away from him in passing. Look at his serve receive number.
He only has 9 attempts.
44% and 44% perfect, 67% positive. Sure, they could get one ace on him, but he was just all over that ball. Like, had to start at Kalachi. So, you know, Lube's numbers are really, really good from this match. And you can tell that they don't, like, just if you look at their, like, 20 errors over the course of the match, that's the only thing to me that kept Verona relevant in this match.
Yeah,
right?
serving. Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. Like, Verona was able to pass a little bit better, and that's the only thing that kept them relevant. But I mean, towards the latter half of the third set, the entire fourth, like, it wasn't a game anymore.
No,
it really wasn't. They really like to give the ball a lot to Amin. I think Amin works really good in that Iranian offense. That's fast and can open up gaps for him. But he's not an outlet ball hitter. Like he's not a high ball get us out of a jam. And for some reason,
that's what Nomori Keita is really good at, which is why I completely don't understand why Keita is playing left side.
Yeah, I don't know why you're doing that. Like, bring in someone off the bench. Like who do they have? I mean, they still have Francesco Sani, but
yeah, Sani, Zavaronok, and Mozic, and like
they have Zavarona.
Yeah, I completely don't completely don't understand what on earth Radostin
Yeah.
Stoichkov thinks he's doing.
So yeah, it just seems like they're just not making any adjustments. Like they come in with a game plan, Lube adjusts, and then it's kind of game over for them.
Last thing I want to say here, Wilfredo Leon started match 1 at outside hitter, got the yank pretty darn quickly. I think for the rest of the playoffs, it's pretty safe to say that Perugia is better with him coming off the bench as a serving sub, because you can't, like, he can't play well enough right now to land either Ole Plotnitsky or certainly not Kamil Semeniuk on the bench.
Do we think the Wilfredo Leon time in Perugia as him being the dominant, like the guy, is over?
Oh yeah, it's over.
Like, and if that's the case, if it's done at Perugia, then it's done. You know, like that's. I'm not saying that's it for him, but
it's just not the Wilfredo Leon that you and I grew up watching dominate Champions Leagues and win 4 in a row for Zenit Kazan. Just is not that guy anymore.
Grow up is generous. You know, I watched him in my 20s. You know, like don't paint me to be that young. But like seriously, here's a question for you, Rob. If Perugia wins a scudetto with Leon on the bench, is this whole Leon thing a waste? Is everything, is his highest contract, is all of that the past few years, is all of that a waste if you won it with him on the bench?
I guess there's only one way to find out. It's only one way, and that's to see if they can actually finally do it this year with Coach Angelo Lorenzetti, because I think that honestly is the biggest difference of this Perugia team. But yeah, we're going to be having a lot of really interesting questions about Wilfredo Leon for the rest of this club season, and then where does he fit in the mix in the Polish national team this summer is a great question too. But it looks clear to me that the right thing for Perugia to do right now is to start Wilfredo Leon on the bench. And I never really thought I would be in a world where that was the case.
Yeah, without a doubt. Leon is not under contract for next year.
The rumors are that he's heading home, that he's going to play, and by home I mean Poland. The rumors are he's going to play in Poland somewhere.
Cuba.
But we don't talk about transfers in the middle of the season. So do you think Verona plays? Do you think Verona wins the match in this series, or is it over?
No, it's over. You're going back home. One thing I will give Verona a lot of credit for is that they have the most electric home games.
Absolutely.
There's always people. They've got like the couches behind. You don't just have like all of the volleyball nerds just sitting there with their laptops and taking stats at the end. Like, no. Let's put the stats people elsewhere. Let's put the people at the back. Make it like it looks like an event. Right?
Yeah.
They've always got good crowds. Mozic is there hyping them up. If you bring in anyone else than Stujchev, it was interesting to watch go at Mozic over like in timeouts over the past like they yell at each other in timeouts.
I know. It's astonishing to me that
you can't tell me that this is a like trust me, I've had toxic relationships with coaches before, and I would have told you, no, he just makes me better. Like, and looking back, no, they were toxic as hell because that person was an asshole, and that's exactly what we're seeing with Radostin Stoichkov. All right, Rob.
Verona is a good franchise. They do a lot of things well. Hiring the right coach to manage talent is not one of those things. All right, on to the only series that is now legitimately interesting. It is Milano versus Piacenza. It is 1-1. Game 1 was a 5-set banger. Milano came back from down 2-1. You see Agustin Loser there on your screen, who is just the man. But it was actually the other middle blocker, Marco Vitelli, who is definitely the hero in the first one. A bunch of serving and a bunch of blocking. Let's see, what did he end up doing? 16 points. 9 for 12 with 6 blocks and an ace is a gnarly stat line for a middle. A middle in this series not named Loser or Simone.
Yeah, it was worrisome though, Rob, because it took an incredible performance from an unlikely star for them to be able to get the hump in this one, right? And you can't expect Vitelli to be a stud like that. You can't expect Vitelli to score 16 points on the regular. That's what you need Augustin Lozère for. And he hasn't really been there. I'll be honest, I was a little surprised that in watching this match that Milano was able to pull it off. Because if you look at that fourth set, like there was times like towards the end there that I thought Piacenza was going to be able to pull it off. But hey, Milano was able to get that win away as well, like at Piacenza's home. But then, if you want to talk about what happened, like in game 2, that's kind of where it was a little bit more domination on the side of Piacenza.
Speaking of middle blocker stat lines, the GOAT, Robert Landy Simone, 17 points in 4 sets, 3 aces, 5 kills, and a Superlega record tying 9 stuff blocks.
Yeah.
The GOAT.
And in this one, like it was really like they dominated Matej Kaczynski.
They did.
He
looked so washed. So washed.
He looked old, whereas a slightly younger man, slightly is very generous in Robert Landy Simone, who looked absolutely untouchable. And this is where like Simone has that ability to go to the next level. Like this is kind of where it's go time, and
he knows it too because he's running out of time, and he'll be the first one to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely right. This next gear up for Simone is massive in terms of the scudetto playoffs that move into what is potentially the biggest national team summer of his life, right? Like
and
everything,
probably the last.
Oh, 100%. Like this is the like everything is in the tank here for Robert Landy Simone with this Piacenza run here. I honestly believe that the majority of teams in this playoffs think that they can win the scudetto.
There's a lot. Once Riccardo Spertoli got hurt, there is a lot of reason for a lot of different teams to think that. Basically, if you're not Verona or Modena. The remaining 6 teams all like certainly could go to the final. That for sure. I don't know about win, but Piacenza, dude, when Piacenza's good, they're really, really good. I mean, Lucarelli had 19, 14 for 25 with a block and 4 aces.
Yeah.
Like even Yuri Romano's been like moderately okay on offense this series. He wasn't even all that good in game 2. It was better in game 1. But like you have the unquestioned, in my opinion, the greatest middle blocker of all time, literally the Shaquille O'Neal of volleyball, in what he probably thinks might be his last chance to legitimately win one of these things. Because I mean, how many scudettos did he win when he was on Lube? It was just one. I think it was just one, like 2 years ago. That might have been the only one. So he's got a trophy case that he needs to add to before it's too late. And if Simone starts playing like this, look out, everybody else. That would be terrifying to play against.
I think this whole Piacenza team is kind of picking up some momentum in general. They've got Leal back, having that pairing of Leal and Lucarelli, like we saw last year in the playoffs. It can be deadly. But on the flip side of the net, Rob, Milano has a lot of things that they need to figure out. First and foremost, that P2 position, whether it's Kaczynski or Megarejo, somebody needs to get the job done. Someone needs to pass the ball better. And the right side situation has been absolutely abysmal as well. Revolving door. Negative efficiency off the bench for Peter Derlich.
Really bad. 2 for 10 with 5 errors.
Yeah,
yikes,
exactly.
dude.
Farrah Riegers was a little bit better. Still like hitting like 20% efficiency, hitting 39% efficiency is probably somewhere around 20%.
He's serving the ball really badly too. Now I know he's getting subbed out for a 6-2 every so often when he goes to the back court, but not a problem that I thought that Milano was going to have coming into the season. The indecision at second outside hitter and opposite, like you said, that it's
not even like indecision in terms of the coach can't make decisions. People can't step up.
People can't play. Yeah, exactly.
Ishikawa is the only guy who's keeping him in these matches, and now he's been fantastic. There's been a few plays, like there was a few plays yesterday, like watching Ran and Ishikawa together. It was just like kind of reminding you what Japan's going to have, like looking forward to the summer, and that's pretty damn sick. But he was all over the place. And now last year he was untouchable, but he had that support from the rest of the team. He had everyone else around him. This year, that's not the case, right? That has not happening for Milano.
And as good as Yuki Ishikawa is, he can't carry a team by himself. That's not the type of player he is.
100%. No, I disagree. I think
No,
he can.
I
think he can, but he needs a little bit more from the rest of the team. Right now, it's pretty ugly.
That's what I just said, Everett. He can't carry a team by himself. He needs a little bit of support.
Yeah, the passing numbers for Milano in the second match were absolutely atrocious.
Yeah,
but for Piacenza, they're even worse. Like how are people playing volleyball right now? Piacenza's 28 positive, 17% perfect. So what? You guys are in system like a quarter of the time?
Less.
Not
even. That's pretty bad. But Piacenza's serving 11 aces, 13 errors in 4 sets. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, they're a powerful team, man, and this is it's not a good matchup for Milano now, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this roster kind of moving forward because this clearly isn't working.
So back to Piacenza over the weekend. Let's see what's the schedule. What do we got coming up this weekend?
Saturday, we've got one match on Saturday. Piacenza versus Milano is on Saturday.
Okay.
And the other 3 matches are all at the same time on Sunday, if I believe they're all at.
Pretty close to the same time. I think Trentino's game is an hour earlier, but all 3 of those series could end on Sunday. I really don't think that Lube versus Monza will. I really think that Lube is going to win that 3rd game, but.
Oh yeah, on Sunday.
I think Perugia and Trentino this time next week. We're going to be talking about them in the semifinals on opposite sides of the bracket too.
Yep, I don't think you're wrong. Monza is going to be interesting to see.
Yep,
for sure.
Okay, that is enough about the Scudetto playoffs. I think it is a big week of volleyball for several reasons. It's CEV Champions League semifinal time, Everett, starting tomorrow and Thursday on the women's side, both matches Wednesday on the men's side, which honestly I kind of like. That schedule broke in a pretty nice way. At least I'm looking forward to it. So tomorrow,
the 2 men's matches are on at the same time, which is
same time is really unacceptable. But other than that, I do kind of like it. So tomorrow, Tuesday, is Monza versus Fenerbahce, which I think is going to be insane. Yep. Thursday, Conegliano versus Eczacıbaşı. So both of those games on the women's side, of course, you have the 4 best opposites in the world. So let's talk about the first one ever tomorrow. Paula Egonu for Monza, Melissa Vargas, and several other characters for Fenerbahce. What do you think about that series? And
who's at home tomorrow?
That's exactly what I was just going to ask. I want to go figure that out.
Who is at home tomorrow? It never actually shows. It's in. That's Conegliano. Why am I pressing Conegliano?
It is in Milan.
It is in Milan. Okay, so we have both games going on in Italy, of course. Italy only has 1 time slot for volleyball, and it's 2030. Okay, and they just put everything
in at 2030
every day. Rob, this one is interesting for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's Egonu versus Vargas, which I'm trying to think if we've actually had a good Egonu versus Vargas matchup. Because
last year in Turkey when Egonu was on Vargas.
Oh yeah. Never mind. I'm stupid. They played in the same league last year. Scratch that. Forget that. But this one's really interesting, mostly because of what happened over the weekend in the Sultanlar Ligi. Fenerbahce losing to THY off the back of Kira Van Rijk's exceptional performance. We'll talk about it in a bit. But that's a dangerous spot for Monza to be in because now Fenerbahce feels like they're owed one. Right.
Monza also did lose to Calciomaggiore in 5 on Wednesday in the Lega Volley Femminile. They rebounded and killed someone yesterday, I think, but they did. Both these teams are coming off of now. THY is a lot better than Calciomaggiore, so that loss for Fenerbahce is not nearly as bad. But both of those teams definitely do feel like they have something to prove right now, and it's hard for me to pick against Fenerbahce with the weapons that they have outside of just Melissa Vargas. Like that outside, I know that people in the Fenerbahce world have been talking down on their outside hitters' passing ability because Arina Fedorovtseva is the second best outside hitter in the world, and next to her, Anna Cristina has not passed the ball well. Maliha Diken over the weekend was really bad, and people are all up in arms about it because Fenerbahce's fans are psycho in a good way. But
in a good way. Okay.
no matter who they put out there, I have way more faith in that outside hitter group versus Miriam Silla and who knows who the second one would be for Malonza. I think that's a massive difference.
I don't know if you play Silla against Fenerbahce because she's a passing liability.
I don't know if you should, but it doesn't mean that they won't. Like that's what they're probably going to do.
I think they're going to start, but then I could see it in Kezot because Kezot is a very good passer. Bajema? Have we determined it's Bajema?
I think it's Bajema, yeah.
Okay. Karabajema is a solid passer as well. So I think you go with those two just to be solid. Maybe you run your middles a little bit more and you're able to give that ball to Agonu. But it's going to be a battle for sure. That one is going to be a battle because I think Agonu feels threatened by Vargas. Right? Because in her mind, like Agonu is better than Hawk because she's more physical than her. Right? Like Manui Mano or Womanui Womano. Sorry, I apologize. Like Agonu knows that like she can beat Hawk, and it's the same thing with Boskovic. Vargas is like they're very similar players in terms of their physicality. I think she feels threatened for them, and this is just my own inference in an entire ocean away watching on the live stream. But I think Agonu has something to prove when he goes up against Melissa Vargas.
I cannot wait to see those two do battle against each other because on any given day, either one of them could single-handedly win a Champions League title, and they're going to have to do it against one another. But as much as I like Fenerbahce's advantage on the left side, I like Malonza's advantage in the middle just as much.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be Dana Retke and Rafaela Foley. Could maybe be Laura Hireman. We've seen her play a good bit this year. But that's going to be the key is how active and how involved can those middle attackers be, depending on how they're able to fight off Fenerbahce's serving. Because remember what Fenerbahce did last year to Conegliano in the Champions League playoffs, and Malonza is nowhere near the quality of passing team that Conegliano is or was, and there was just nothing they could do. It's somebody in the chat says, of course, yeah. This matchup entirely comes down to Fenerbahce's serving. Player to watch here. Brenda Castillo at libero against those vicious servers.
I always forget about the Brenda effect, man. Honestly, I think the Brenda effect could have one of the biggest.
Brenda effect is very powerful.
The Brenda effect will be something big. Also, Edda Erem.
Yeah, she hurt. I think she hurt her hand. I'm not sure what it was because she got hurt over the weekend, and at least what I'm looking at, doesn't look like she's going to play tomorrow, which sucks. Not only is she like one of the greatest middles of all time, but she's just their captain and emotional rock. So we'll see if they can respond to that.
Yeah, this one's going to be a big one. I'm not going to be able to watch much volleyball this week, Rob. I've got a lot of. I'm going to be watching a lot of volleyball, but not a lot of volleyball that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk about the youth sports national championships later on. So, who's your pick in this? Let's pick the series. You got Malone.
The series.
Yeah, pick the series.
That's so tough.
Pick the series now, because otherwise,
I think Fenerbahce.
It would be cheating on next week's show.
I think Fenerbahce.
I want to pick Fenerbahce too because I do think that they are better, but I'm gonna pick Malonza for the drama of it. I don't know. I kind of have a feeling, and I think Ada Erdem's loss is pretty big. Yeah, and it will definitely come down to the serving. Maybe Malonza gets a little lucky, and Fenerbahce serving away from their home gym tomorrow doesn't have their best match, and Malonza can steal one. I don't know. I'll pick Malonza just for the sake of the drama of it.
All right, fair enough. other match here on Thursday. This one is a big one. Basha taking on Conigliano. Conigliano, you have to say it, kind of looks like the best team in women's volleyball right now.
Sure do.
Are they undefeated on the season?
They're definitely undefeated in domestic competition. They won the Super Cup and the Cup, and they're undefeated in the league
play. Yeah,
I don't know if they lost a random game in Champions League pools. Maybe.
Let me look that up while you ramble.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't really even matter, just because they're so good. And Basha, like we'll talk about in a bit, kind of got stunned in a 3-dong by Bank over the weekend, which was very surprising.
It was. I was expecting that game to go a little bit bigger, but yeah, some very surprising results.
Yeah, we will focus on the Sultanlar Ligi in just a little bit and talk about those games in more detail. But without question, Conigliano has the better setter and the better libero. So I'll give them both there. Hawk versus Boskovic is a toss-up. But team reception is what I'm really concerned about if I'm an Basha fan. Like that last series against Scandici with no matter who it was, Hande Baladin, Alexa Gray, Irina Voronkova, like whoever it was, those outside hitters could not pass the ball. And the one thing that I do think, the reason why I would put Tijana Boskovic as fourth in the world amongst those 4 great opposites that we're going to see in these semifinals is because I do think of the 4, she is the easiest to defend against. Her arm angle and her shot selection is slightly more predictable than the rest of the opposites because she's not really going over anybody. I think that, I mean, her arm is one of the best of all time. But it goes back to how Karch Karai completely dominated her in the 2021 Olympics. It's how their block and defense set up to dig and slow down the deep cross court shot. I think that, and you don't think Daniele Santarelli knows how to do that? Who coached her to a world championship 2 years ago?
Well, that's the Santarelli effect in this one is going to be big. And now I'll stay right up to that. Like I think it's going to be Conigliano, right? They're the best team in women's volleyball. However, let me just say that if like I think one of these games we're gonna have a really good Alexa Gray game. Like I think this one is gonna be a split with Basha winning in 5 and Conigliano winning in with 4 or 3. That's what I think this one is gonna be, because I think like Basha has the ability to run with them for one game. And if they can get a good game where they're both 2 of their left sides are rolling good, and like there's one thing that I know about Alexa Gray is that she can sometimes be a little bit petty, and she can sometimes be one of those players that plays with a bit of a chip on her shoulder. Now I know that there's a lot of haters on Alexa Gray out there. I don't really care. She's proven you wrong so many times, but you cannot forget of what Alexa Gray is able to do in a one-game basis. If I take you back to last year's Scudetto finals, and I'm going to call the women's Scudetto, I don't really care. That was an all-time performance from her. If you go back to game 1 of the last round, amazing
series, yeah,
right? Like Alexa Gray is petty, and she's gonna in one of these games she's gonna score a lot of points. And if Alexa Gray scores a lot of points, Tijana Boskovic scores a lot of points, that's a bad news bears recipe for Conigliano, and I think they could potentially squeak one out.
Potentially,
like. It has to. The stars need a line here for Basha to have a chance. Yeah. Otherwise,
there's so many ifs, so many maybes, so many.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not trying to.
Conigliano's going to win this series. Conigliano is going to win this series. They have the best setter. They have the best libero. They have at least as good of an opposite. I think that Isabel Hawk is just outstanding. I hear Sinead Jack isn't 100%, which is a bummer. I do like Jovana Stevanovic. So like she's no problem. The fact that she's been the third middle for them for most of the season is pretty crazy to me. But none of their middles are as good as Sarah Farr is playing right now for Conigliano. And the one thing that they will try and do is serve Catherine Plummer the ball as much as possible. But the last several series, she's been amazing.
Like serve receive has been solid.
It's been outstanding.
Yeah.
And then they have the perfect complement of 3 American outside hitters. You have the scorer in Plummer, you have the ball controller in Kelsey Robinson, then you have the person right in the middle in Khalil Lanier, who can come off the bench for either one. The team's so well constructed. They have 4 great middles, and they have the best coach in all of volleyball. This is Conegliano's series. They will get 3 points at home on Thursday. I'm pretty confident in that. Then once they go to Istanbul next week, you never know, but they'll go in only needing 2 sets, and it would be impossible for me to pick against them at that point.
I think Fenerbahce wins in 5, or sorry, Exasabasha wins in 5 tomorrow or on Thursday.
Really, in Italy?
In Italy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll agree with that.
And
one.
then they get thumped at home.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think is going to happen.
I could see it. Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just, this is what my gut is telling me, Rob St. Clair.
Great. Love it. Good. Go with it. Because if Conegliano loses the first leg, the vengeance with which they will come out that second leg.
That's why I want to see it.
Yeah, I would love to see it. That would be really fun to watch.
Like I want to see
pissed off Santarelli.
I want to see a pissed off Santarelli. I want to see cards thrown. I want to see players ejected in a 5-set questionable win. Maybe we have a challenge that's like maybe questionable, gives us a little bit of a talking point to go with next week, and then just like Conegliano comes in and mops the floor in Istanbul and like does let Exasabasha get over 18.
Sure, love it.
Somebody clip this out and prove me right as a problem.
Yeah, we'll definitely. People will keep the receipts depending on how these series go. All right,
Yeah.
so Everett and I both have Conegliano. Everett's got Fenerbahce. I've got Malonza. We will see what happens this week. On to the men's side. Both games on Wednesday at exactly the same time, which is so annoying. First up, we've got the all-Italian game, Lube at Trentino. This is at Trentino on Wednesday. Trentino is 2-0 against Lube this year. They beat Lube in a 3-dong on December 3rd. They beat him again 3-1 on February 14th, both in just regular season play. Of course, the major asterisk here is that both of those games included Riccardo Spertoli, which this match will not. So, Everett, to you, without the constraint of the foreigner limit, on the road, does Lube have a chance to steal one?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. This is, as I said earlier, this is Lube's golden option, right? Like, especially if they're going to end up losing and they're going to be not in the Champions League next time for the first time in 14 or 15 years, like that's going to be huge. So this is and Trentino is like every other team they can beat, right? Every other team here that they can beat. I don't know if they can, even with their entire roster, I don't know if they can beat Trentino with Spertoli. So if they can get by and they can focus here, maybe Lube goes out, wins another Champions League before potentially not being in it next year.
How crazy!
I mean, that's the reality, right? Like that is the reality for Lube right now. So as I said, like there is a potential that your Scudetto season is over as of Sunday. So you need to go all in on this. With the fact that like that they do have their backs up against the wall. This is a championship roster filled with championship athletes who know how to win, who have won before, and they're going to want to win, right? This team is going to come out flying. Now, where is it at? Is it at Lube or is it's at Trentino? Yeah, I honestly think that they can come in and steal one. I absolutely do, because you're going to have Chinyeze, you're going to have Yant, you're going to have Nikolov, you're going to have Lugumgia. Like this is when they come in and dominate.
Yeah, this is a big Bartolome Chinyeze game that he's going to need to put up bare minimum double digits in both games in this series against, I mean, 2 excellent middles in Pedrashin and Kozamernik on the other side. But with the backup setter in Acquarone for Trentino, you've got to think that that Lube will have a blocking advantage in being able to slow down Trentino's middle attack to some degree. And if I'm DeCecco, I'm looking to feed Bartolome Chinyeze as much as humanly possible from all sorts of crazy places. The other place that I think that Lube has an advantage is in Adis Lugumja being better than Kamil Rklitsky, because he is. Adis Lugumja is much better than Kamil Rklitsky. The thing is, though, that nobody on either roster or anywhere else in any other roster in all of volleyball is as good as Alessandro Michiletta right now. And in Trentino, I think this might even be like a dejecting 3-dong. I could kind of see it in Trentino's favor.
in Trentino's favor.
In Trentino's favor. I think that this might be a vintage statement, like all-time resume Alessandro Micheletto game, and I'm kind of feeling like a total beatdown, a total Trentino beatdown.
I'm a little stunned to hear what I'm hearing right now, Rob.
Yeah,
I won't lie. I am a little stunned.
Backup setter. I'm still kind of feeling a total Trentino beatdown.
Okay. Wow. I don't even know what to say to that. You think with a backup setter, Trentino, like Lidl Spertoli, Aquarone, whatever his name is gonna be like Marlon Yant and Nikolov and Lagumja and Cheniniese. Okay, sure, if you want.
You mentioned that Lube has players who know how to win, have won before. Other than DeCecco and I guess DeCecco, Chinese, and Bolasso, those three wings have never won anything.
No, but they've been to a scudetto final before.
So they lost
against this very team. Right?
Like I lost.
Oh, this is
and they lost. The wing disparity, even with Rick Litsky. I can't believe I'm about to pick a team in a major match that has Kamil Ricklitsky on it, but I am.
I honestly don't understand the hate for Kamil Ricklitsky. He's been sick. He's been one of the best opposites. He has been consistently, like, if you look at the past 5 years, he has been the most consistent and best opposite over the past 5 years in the Superliga. There's no opposite who has been consistently good as Kamil Ricklitsky. And I'm not saying that
there's also no opposite that has consistently blown it in big matches in the playoffs and in Champions League the way that Kamil Ricklitsky has.
Oh, I don't know about that at all.
I absolutely know about that.
I don't know about that. But yeah, okay. I think this one is going to be a Lube series. I really do.
Okay. Yeah, I've got Trentino for sure, and then they've got a month, and Spertoli is going to come back and win the Champions League. I'm calling it right now. Trentino's going to win this tournament still. They're going to get through the fact that they have a backup setter for this series. Ricardo Spertoli
if Trentino is able to beat Lube like this, then they deserve it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what's up. Let's chat now about the other series. JW was able to thump Piacenza in game 2 and get past. Then, of course, Zero Bank barely squeaking by Guaguas, winning that golden set after getting 3 donged. This one, there's a massive asterisk, this one, Rob St. Clair, and that is the status of one Matthew Anderson.
Yep.
He has not played in a long time for the Zero Bank team. I'm going through, like, it has been now a number of weeks since he has appeared, and we have not seen Matt Anderson.
Does do any Turkish people in the chat know, is Matt Anderson going to play on Wednesday? Because he is on the travel roster. This game is in Poland.
He has been on the roster for these past matches. Now, Zero Bank, which has been struggling a little bit this season, is on a 4-game win streak. Well, 3 games in a set.
No.
I don't know if you can really call getting 3 donged than winning a race to 15 a match. Yeah,
at home.
But they have won 3 games against iffy competition in Turkey.
Yeah, and they lost a set. Wow, they lost a set 39-37 and came back and won the match. That's actually insane. Whoa. So yeah, they beat Novelli last week. Interesting.
But if Anderson is able to come back and inject himself into the lineup, that's when things get a little interesting in this match. Otherwise, I don't think it's interesting at all. Otherwise, the only way it's interesting is if JW doesn't show up.
Which is possible. This I've just been a little bit worried about some of like what it seems to be off-court issues with Zero Bank the last couple of weeks. So like Anderson, obviously, if he can't play, that's a massive problem, because for some reason their coach refuses to play the second best outside hitter on their team, which is Luciano Vicentin, which I completely don't understand. And then there seems to be a lot of question marks floating around Arslan Ekşi, their starting setter, who's been up to all sorts of weird stuff. There was like unconfirmed rumor that he got suspended for fighting people in a Italian League game, which I watched that clip, that 5th set against Sportoto a couple weeks ago, and it was one of the most jarring things I've ever seen. Like almost like Malice at the Palace like situation. It was insane. If you haven't seen this, you have to. But with all that said, I can't explain, and I would like your help, Everett, or anybody in the chat to help explain to me why do I have no faith in JSW? Why don't I have faith in them? I honestly don't know the answer. I don't know why, but I don't feel faith in this JSW team, and I don't know why, but I don't.
The JSW is an interesting team because every time I think that they're like one of the best teams maybe in the world, they do something silly. Like they just lost to Gdansk.
Yes, they did.
Randomly. They lost to Zawiercie the way they did in the Polish Cup, where like they kind of weren't relevant. Like this isn't a team to me that dominates on the regular. They don't make domination a habit. And
no, they're not like a convincing team on the eye test. Even when they win and when they beat good teams, which they do quite often. Even when they do that, for some reason, I don't find myself being convinced.
To me, it really comes down to their P2 position,
for sure.
Right when like if you have Shimura out there, like it just doesn't compute. Like I think Rafael Shimura is fantastic, but he's not a starting outside hitter on a team that could potentially win both the PlusLiga and the Champions League. And if they're able to do that with him, then maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know. Like I will definitely say that I'm the first one to kind of doubt Zawiercie all the time. Or not Zawiercie, sorry.
JSW. Yeah.
Like I just like in years past when they've won things, I've always been surprised. Right? Like when they win the PlusLiga, I was surprised. When they made it to the finals, like I've always been surprised. So yeah, I honestly like I'm right there with you on that sentiment. But I enjoy watching them. I think we have to give him his dues and say that Norbert Huber has hands down been the best middle in club volleyball this year. And I know some of our Polish friends are going to be clutching their pearls because we finally admit it. But like we ran the numbers.
Finally admit it.
Don't even try to do that. Don't even try to do that. We ran the numbers.
His regular season numbers are absolutely absurd. Like over a block percent. It's ridiculous. And he will be in very good position to dominate against Zierot Bank. However, Huber has not been nearly as good in Champions League. That's also a fact. I also ran those numbers. He's got like 0.6 blocks per set on very, very pedestrian scoring, although he was good in the last game against Piacenza. That should be a matchup advantage for JSW, as should Tomasz Fornal. Obviously, it should be the best player on either team in this series. At least he probably thinks he is. So I would like to see that. I would like to see that from him. And at the end of the day, if Matt Anderson can't play, I really don't think Zierot Bank has a chance. I love Wouter Termat. I love watching him. He's perfect for that Zierot Bank team. This is not a good matchup for him if he's the only point scorer. If he's one of 2 point scorers, then maybe you've got something there because because seriously, that second outside hitter position for JSW is such a massive weakness, and you have four
Camejo and Vincentine. That's what I want to see.
That's fine by me. I want to see Vincentine on that floor, and it sounds like he'll be playing against Marcelo Mendez and maybe against the team that he's going to be playing for next year, if some rumors are to be believed. That's the key. JSW's second outside hitter position, and is Matt Anderson going to play? Even though I don't find myself ever being convinced, I'm JSW definitely wins this match on Wednesday just for being at home, and I do think that they win the series.
I definitely think this series as well.
Yeah.
If there's no XC, are we going with Ogulka and Yatkin? Is that the next setter there?
Yeah, he played in the first leg of the Guaguas series, came off the bench, and actually I thought looked pretty good.
He was the best setter in the league in 1920.
Playing for who?
Fenerbahce.
Oh, interesting.
Like if his volley box is to be correct.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It would be quite funny. Now, it's not announced yet. I hate how the CEV does this. Even though we know that the Champions League Superfinals is the first weekend of May, we still have no idea where it is. The rumors are that it's going to be in Turkey, which would be insane. And I think that it would be cool, and I think that it would be quite funny if there were 0 Turkish teams involved. So part of me is kind of rooting.
Imagine there was no Turkish teams on the women's side either.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
There's
that
an
would be bad.
Somebody in the chat put it in earlier. Imagine if it was an all-Italian Champions League final on the women's side in
But
Turkey.
imagine if it was an all-Turkish League Champions League finals in Turkey.
That would be similarly insane. All right,
that might be riot worthy.
You've got JSW in this series.
Yeah, I have JSW in this series for sure, without a doubt.
Okay, other CEV this week, the CEV Cup finals, both the men's and the women's. Resovia at Lundberg on Wednesday for the men. Oh, wait, no, sorry, Tuesday. Oh, fantastic. Another game to watch. And then Chieri at Neuchâtel for the women on Wednesday. Everett, we're both probably going to pick Chieri for the women unless you're going to throw me a crazy curveball, right?
No, I'm going to pick Chieri. I do want to watch the match as much as I can to try to see. I'm interested to see what Lorenberto and that Neuchâtel team can do. I like how you kind of have the David and Goliath matchups in both finals.
Yeah,
right.
Me too.
You've got the clubs from the big city, from the big leagues going up against the smaller clubs, and I kind of love that. I would love to see, I think tomorrow's matchup at Lundberg is really interesting. We've seen how difficult that Lundberg Hall is to play in.
It's
right?
a special place, man.
They've gotten massive wins there over the past 2 seasons, most notably against Modena and of course against Argus. They've beat legends there. You also have Resovia. They're known for the Resovia curse. They've had some really bad losses this year. Could we see one tomorrow in a tough situation? Maybe. I don't know, but I think that's going to be very interesting. And then if Neuchâtel is going to do something, they have to do it tomorrow, right? If they need to be able to use their at-home crowd. From what I understand, their home crowds are pretty damn good. They play in a smaller, intimate arena, and they are going to need to be loud. Now, one thing about Chieri, though, is they rested their starters this weekend, right? They ate a loss. Grabelna did not play. Avery Skinner did not play. They ate a loss to a team that didn't matter because they're solidly in 4th in the Lega Volley Femminile, and they won't be moving. They can't move up and down either way. So they sat their starters this weekend. I think that's going to give them a massive advantage. I do expect Neuchâtel to come out and A, they're well coached, and B, it's a squad full of Americans. So it's going to be strong on defense, and they're going to battle hard, and they're going to be well game planned. I could see this one going to 5. Actually, I expect this one to go for 5 because Chieri, as skilled as they are, they're still a little unsettled at times. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Neuchâtel pull out a 5-set win here at home, and then Chieri take it at home in a 3 or a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I've definitely got Chieri in that series, but at least for tomorrow's match, I'll go ahead and pick Lundberg. Although we talked about it last week, but they got a tough break in having to play the first leg at home versus the second leg. That's obviously what they would have preferred. I can smell a Resovia egg about to be laid. I can smell a Resovia egg about to be laid. Fabian Zizga is ready to lay an egg in the CEV Cup final. I can see it now. I can see them going to Germany. They're probably.
You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Lundberg for tomorrow as well. But I don't know. There's just something that just doesn't feel right about it. Maybe because we're talking about it. Once we're bringing.
Yeah,
we're
talk about it less and just pick it and leave it out there.
maybe I should go for Resovia just to jinx Lundberg a little bit.
Ooh, there's an idea. No, I'm sticking with Lundberg. My heart wants them to win this tournament. I think it would be really cool.
Yeah, I think so too. But first, win one. So let's start with that one game tomorrow. So that one will be able to be checked out. I'm sure that these games are actually going to be live on the CEV YouTube channel, which thank goodness.
Hope so.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, that's it for CEV. Going to be a big couple days. Make sure you join the Volleyball Source Discord if you're not already. A couple things to talk about before we jump into some more domestic league stuff. The first is that volleyballstore.com. Nice.
Sorry, I was fighting off a yawn and a sneeze there. That was a weird little situation. Yeah, head over to Thank you. Head over to thatvolleyball.store and use the code SPICY to get 15% off your entire order. So yeah, make sure you check it out. Hoping to see some of y'all sporting some spicy volleyball gear at this weekend's U Sports National Championships in Kingston, Ontario. Should be a fun one.
And of course, our favorite segment, of course,
Daddy?
is Where's Daddy Stankovic? Where's Daddy? You can sometimes find him on the bench for Modena. But when he's not there, he's hiding somewhere in this very show. I have a very good time every week photoshopping him somewhere into one of our assets. So if you find Daddy Stankovic, of course, you get to comment in the main YouTube comment section the timestamp of where he is. And if you do that, you get a shout out the following week. So last week we were giving Projekt Warszawa their flowers for winning the CEV Challenge Cup. And up there, lurking in between Andre Verona and Sresko Lisanac, there is Daddy Stankovic celebrating a trophy with the team that he's not on. So Ozzy Tragic found him right away. Good job, Ozzy. We love you. Keep your eye out for Daddy Stankovic this week, as always. He's hidden somewhere, and if you find him, don't put it in the live chat, but wait until the live stream is over and comment a timestamp of where he is in the main YouTube comment section. And we will see next week where Daddy was hidden.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Daddy. All right, you want to do Sultanlar Ligi?
Yeah, it was a big weekend in
games.
Sultanlar Ligi with the top 4 teams all playing each other. This one, as you mentioned it, Rob, a little bit earlier, Vakif Bank 3-donging Zasha Basha like solidly 18, 22, and 23. Now, I didn't watch this one, but if you look at the numbers, they are pretty jarring. Not a great game for Alexa Gray. She was terrible offensively, 3 for 5. But how are you only giving your left side attacker 5 attempts? And she started 2 of the sets, whereas Hande Baladin is 8 for 24
with 7 errors.
with 7 errors,
and
yet
got
off in the entire time.
Yikes. That's probably a foreigner limit thing if I had to guess, but Voronkova off the bench, quite bad, 5 for 14, 0% efficiency. Just a horrendous game for Adzadjabasha on offense, other than Tiana Boskovic, who was very, very good as usual. And then Sinead Jack got hurt, like people were saying in the chat earlier. But this was a kind of a pleasant wake up for a lot of Vakif Bank's offensive players that we haven't seen in a long time. Gabi good, 10 for 19 for 11 points. Jordan Thompson better than she's been lately, 9 for 18, 3 blocks and an ace. That's very nice. But maybe they've found an answer here with their second outside hitter position, Bianca Busha of Serbia, who we've barely seen kind of all season long.
Bro, I feel like I haven't seen Bianca Busha since that Serbia run 2 years ago at Vienna. Boskovic.
Right. And then they went on to win the World Championship later that year. But she was pretty good. 11 points, 9 for 21, low error rate, very good passing numbers, an ace and no service errors. Like maybe that's an answer in a new option, second outside hitter. And another important point, no Zara Gunesh did not play.
Obogu.
Wow, neither of them, huh?
No Obogu. And
Shaka get hurt too? Oh, that would suck.
But she wasn't out. I mean, if you want to see why Vakif Bank won this match, you can just go back and look at the passing stats of Zasha Basha.
Oh yeah, they're bad.
Look at Alexa's numbers, unfortunately. 6% positive, 6% perfect on 18 targets. That might be the worst passing numbers I have ever seen.
I can't believe she stayed in for as long as she did. That's terrible.
That is terrible. So yeah, Akbas Farhat, figure it out.
Oh man. So yeah, good for Vakif Bank. Maybe that'll help them into the playoffs. I was looking at the standings of the Sultanlar Ligi because that's a weird league, given that they only have 4 teams that make the playoffs, not 8, like literally everybody else in the world. But I think they only have 4 for some teams, 3 for most teams matches left in the regular season. No, wait a minute. They only have 1. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They play 26 games. Everyone's played either 24 or 25. So the playoff field is set. It'll be Fenerbahce 1. Adzadjabasha, Vakif Bank right now are tied. So they'll be 2 and 3. And then THY will be the number 4 seed. And they just beat Fenerbahce in 5 over the weekend, which looks like it will be the first round series in the playoffs. An impressive 3-2 win. And speaking of good Canadian performances, Everett, how about Kira Van Dijk?
Yeah, Kira went absolutely off in this one. 24 for 51. Did make a boatload of errors, though. 5 errors, got blocked 3 times. She had a block of her own, but 7 aces.
That's incredible.
7 aces for Kira Van Dijk is awesome. Also, Azoy Neerman, or Neerman Azoy, I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that right, comes like she's old. She's born in 88, Rob. And she was out there dropping 20 points.
That outside hitter, I've never heard of that player.
Yeah. She used to play on like the Turkish team like back in the day, like back when they were mediocre. So as much as I would love this to be a thing heading into the playoffs, it's not. I don't see a 30-plus-year-old like a 36, 37-year-old dropping 20 points on the regular against Fenerbahce. I don't see Kira Van Dijk outscoring Melissa Varga on a regular business. Bergman passed the ball well, though. Well, Julia Bergman, though, passed 55% positive.
Nice to see.
So that's all right. But yeah, that was a big win for THY over Fenerbahce, because that actually clinched their spot in the top 4, and then of course clinched a spot for them in the CEV Cup next year.
You mean when they lose to Fenerbahce in the semifinals?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. Rough match for Fenerbahce, not just because their outside hitters were Arina Fedorubtseva, 20 points on 15 for 32, 3 blocks, 2 aces, just another day at the office. But Maliha Deacon, quite bad. Anna Cristina in limited action, quite bad. Really bad reception actually for both those players, so that's not a good sign. And then Ada Erdem getting hurt. That's going to be a big problem for them, depending on how quickly she can get back. If they can survive Malonza and Malonza's good middles in Champions League, then that will be something pretty special. But yeah, that's their captain, kind of their heart and soul. That is a tough blow for Fenerbahce for sure.
You have to wonder if they would have pulled that out in 5 with her on the court. Just the intangibles.
You do have to wonder.
Yeah.
15-11 in the 5th. THY took it.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all to talk about from Sultanlar Ligi, right?
Yep. Speaking of teams clinching things, we haven't talked about the Lega Volley Femminile in a little bit because there's been no matches between good teams. But unsurprisingly, Conegliano locked up the 1 seed. They did that last week. They had a round of games on Wednesday as well as over this past weekend. So most of the teams only have 2 matches left to play. They played 26 games. It looks like the two bottom teams have 3 matches left to play. Conegliano's locked up the 1 seed. They can coast the rest of the last 2 matches, only focus on Champions League. Scandici Malonza right there at 2 and 3, although like I said earlier, Malonza did kind of lose a random game to Castelmaggiore on Wednesday. But let's see, could this playoff race be dramatic? Probably not, unless
not really.
Castelmaggiore goes undefeated, which is a little bit of a bummer. Yeah, Novara solidly in 4th. Chieri locked into 5th. 6, 7, 8 is definitely going to be a race because you do not want to be 8th. That's a death sentence. And then I guess it'll probably come down to Bergamo and Cuneo for the 2nd relegation spot. Looks like Bergamo and Trentino still have to play each other. It's always crazy to me just how bad Trentino's women's team is.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, Chieri threw their game against didn't throw their game, but they played a lot of their starters this weekend against Firenze. But they're solidly they're 8 points up on Pinerolo for 5th, and they're 11 points
11
behind,
points
9.
back.
Yeah. So, not much drama for the Lega Volley Femminile as we head into the playoffs. Last year there was a lot of drama. Just there was so much moving around, but not quite this year. I feel like the first round, other than that Novara Chieri series too, there is a massive gap from Chieri to Pinerolo, and there's still a pretty big gap from Milano to Novara and Chieri as well. So unlike the men's scudetto, the Lega Volley Femminile, the playoffs, I feel like round one is going to be pretty pedantic.
For sure. Other than Novara versus Chieri, I mean, it'll be basically the exact same that we saw, the thing we saw in the Coppa Italia. Remember, it was basically the same thing, but in one game series, and Chieri ended up beating Novara. And then, but everywhere else, it was business as usual for the top three teams. Relegation race wise, it could get interesting because Bergamo has a match in hand, and they get to play Trentino, who's the worst team in the league. So it'll come down to either Bergamo or Cuneo is the second team that gets relegated. Cuneo has Chieri, who has nothing to play for, followed by Firenze, who also won't have very much to play for. And then Bergamo has Novara, then Trentino, then Scandicci. So other than that Trentino game, which should be an easy W, the other two opponents will be difficult. Which is really too bad because Bergamo made the playoffs last year. That was a really, really rough fall off for that franchise.
Oh, yeah, they did. I'm just looking at some of the matchups for this weekend. Malonza plays Firenze, Casamaggiore plays Valfolia, Trentino plays Busto. Canigliano plays Pinerolo. Yeah, none of it is. Scandicci, Roma, Cuneo, Chieri, Novara, Bergamo. Yeah, there's nothing good to watch this weekend on the Lega Volley.
Especially not while there's men's playoffs going on. Like, there's only, you only have so many eyeballs and so many hours to watch volleyball, and like this home stretch of the Lega Volley Femminile regular season is just not really going to be worth our time. But obviously, we'll lock back in once the playoffs start. And yes, of course, Trentino is coached by Davide Mazzanti. No wonder they're so bad. That certainly checks out. I think we can probably move on. Do you agree?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the PlusLiga. Yeah, because this was a weekend of upsets all around. There was only one team to win that was a higher seed, and that was Lublin 3-donging Zaksa, which of course we have to talk about. But first and foremost, I want to talk about Project Warszawa pulling into second place with a massive 3-1 over Zawiercie over the weekend. 31 points by Bolange. Massive outing from him. He went 27 for 41. He hit 66% with a 54% efficiency. He added 3 blocks and an ace as well. Massive. He was a plus 22 in the match with 6 break points. Huge. Whoa. And this one, like when you look at, I'm mad I didn't watch this one too, because when you look at Zawiercie's numbers, Karol Butrin, not quite as good, but still pretty fantastic. He was 25 for 43. He had 29 points. Didn't hit as well, though. 58%, 37% efficiency with a block and 3 aces. So this was just a good old-fashioned right side slugfest. And then Matusz Biniak, of course, being just the middle monster that he is, he added 17 points in the losing effort.
17's a big game for a middle, man.
For a middle, is huge.
4 sets. Now, Zawiercie did not have their starting setter, no Miguel Tavares, so we can give them that little break. But yeah, this is a big win for Warszawa. We saw Taylor Averill back in action. He started the 4th set. That was awesome. And yeah, what are the standings now? Are they tied? Tied in 59 points?
Warszawa has a game at hand, though.
So
that's why they're ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a big win there for Warszawa if they could potentially hold on to that. And I think most teams have 5 matches left in the regular season. They're going to have 6 because they are them and Skra are the only team to be at 24.
Yeah, I guess them and Skra have a makeup game somewhere on the schedule. Yeah, this is a Polish Cup semi-final revenge game as well. Zawiercie beat Warszawa. Yeah, I like Warszawa. I like that team a lot. They're going to be real good in the playoffs.
However, Rob, there's one big caveat into all of this is that moving into second place puts you into a matchup with Zaksa. Now, they did just lose 3-0 to Lublin. Thank you for throwing that up there. I like the timing of that. So there is massive question marks around this Zaksa team. Still, as we talk about it, this one was a huge game from Matusz Malinowski. 18 for 29. He was 52% efficiency for 20 points. Ferreira and Tobias Brand, who has come to this Lublin team late, and I didn't even know he existed. I thought he passed away from COVID. He just comes in and has just been outstanding for Lublin on this access side of the things. Just terrible offensive numbers. Only 11 points for Bednarz, 10 for Kaczmarek. They hit 26% efficiency as a team, and that was with Janus setting.
Yeah, bad game, especially against Lublin, who at the time Zox only trailed them by 3 points in the standings. Now it's 6, and that is a real big difference. I want to give Mateusz Malinowski a ton of credit. Like you said, we saw him help Lublin upset Resovia in the Polish Cup. I also really like he's the really young, dynamic lefty. I like him, especially because he's keeping Damian Schultz on the bench where he belongs. 18 for 29, 52%. Awesome. However, Zox's side, who came back and played just a little bit?
Who's that?
Alexander Schlivka made his return. Alexander Schlivka made his return. I think he just came in and served the ball or something. I don't know, but if they very good timing on that one. Like the last time we talked about Zoxa, we were saying like you can kind of see their history. They went on that 4-game win streak before the loss to Lublin because they had a cupcake schedule. They played a bunch of really easy, low-ranked teams. Now, the rest of the regular season, very different. They have an absolute gauntlet. They have Gdansk, followed by Warszawa, followed by Suwałki, followed by Zawiercie, followed by JSW. So they have a gnarly schedule the rest of the way. And if Schlivka can come back and maybe even start, that'll be just what the doctor ordered.
And they really need Schlivka to start because if you look at Daniel Kitigoy's numbers, they are like you can tell that they have no one else. 3 for 18, 0% efficiency. At least he passed 50% positive, right? Then serving rise, he is terrible. 7 attempts, 5 errors.
Wow,
and
that's
started
so bad.
And he started all 3 sets. He was a -4 overall in this game.
Whoa. Yeah, that's rough. And you can kind of see there in the standings, 7, 8, and 9. That is a very legitimate race. Zaksa tied with Olshin at 38, Stalnissa at 937. Like that is by no means locked in for any of those teams that they're going to make.
Could potentially miss the playoffs.
I know. I think I said it on last week's show.
Which is once again why I think the PlusLiga is better than is better than whatever that other league we talked about. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. We're going to be spending a lot of time watching the PlusLiga playoffs when they come around because it's going to be insane. And remember, the format's different this year. They're just doing home and away Champions League style. Last game I wanted to talk about we already talked about that one. This one, Trefl Gdansk in the Ergo Arena beats JSW in 5. Very good match. Great match from Kevin Sasak, this young, big, brutish Polish opposite. 23 points. Yeah, a big performance from him. A couple other just kind of, I don't know who. Let's see. I certainly know who Jan Martinez is. Maybe do I have a Google Translate problem here? No, Jordan Zaleschik. Not familiar with his game, but he had 17 points, including 4 aces.
Who is that?
No idea. He's a middle.
He's a 2002.
Damn. And he's a middle. 17 points for a middle. Big game. 6 blocks, 4 aces. Whoa, that's massive. Very impressive. And Tony Uti barely played. He only started the first set, and then that waste of space Scrooters came in for JSW. So
this looks like it was a banger match to watch. Like, look at how many skies were in like double digits on either side. Yeah. You look at the low-ish amount of errors offensively and the high number of blocks. This looks like college volleyball to me, and I love it.
It's fun. But one thing that I especially wanted to point out from this game was the absolute scene afterwards. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. Look at this. Were you not aware of this? This is like a fundraising effort that Gdansk does, I think, once a year. It's tradition that everybody that comes to the game, and this is the Ergo Arena in Gdansk. Like the FIVB hosts things here, and you can put 12,000 people in this arena. So they sell this place out.
Canadian junior hockey.
Yeah, is that a Canadian junior hockey thing?
I don't know when they did it in this game, but the big thing, and I will say this is an Ottawa 67s thing, like Stampede, who play at TD Place where we do VNL every year, but it's a known thing. Kids bring stuffed animals to the game, and the first 67s goal of the game, just all of the teddy bears pile on, and then they donate them to the local children's hospital.
That's exactly what this was. I think it happened after the match was over, but even better that it happened to be a 5-set win. And I mean, we've seen the Ergo Arena on the biggest stages before, like the VNL finals were there last year. Like that is a big time place to watch a volleyball game. And it's like just a really cool tradition. I saw a bunch of videos from it. Go check out Gdansk's Instagram. And with a 5-set win over the #1 team in the league, like you can't write it any better than that. So just something really cool that I wanted to highlight.
I would have liked to have seen it like after they won the first set or something like that. That would have been a rad time to do it, because I love it in hockey when like they do it and then you have to wait for 20 minutes as they take all of these things off.
Yeah, call me a curmudgeon, but I hate that. Wait until the game's over.
Why not? Just go and get beers.
It takes so long.
Go and get beers.
That's what I hope everyone in Gdansk was doing over the weekend. PlusLiga, really interesting. Last thing we got to hit. There is a legitimate relegation race, Everett. Charny Rodham has climbed back from the depths of like being completely irrelevant. And now they're tied in win-loss record. They only trail Cooper Lubin by 4 points, and they play each other down the stretch. So we've legitimately got something here. And you know me, I love a relegation race.
Yeah, I messaged you today, and I was like, Rob, it's finally here. We have a relegation race, and Rodham.
There wasn't any fun, dramatic relegation stuff in any of the other leagues. It's about time to get one.
And Rodham is the best. Has won 2 of their past 3, so they're pretty good. And now this is where it gets interesting. Now Rodham still has to play Resovia, Katowice, Skra, Barkum, and Lubin, not Lublin, Lubin. Yeah. So Kuprum, whereas Kuprum has to play Olsztyn, Norvid, Resovia, and then Radom. So those 2 teams, they both have four matches left. Oh, I guess I messed up with how many matches there was left when I talked about it earlier.
Should be 5 matches left for everyone. But yeah, they're going to play each other in the last match of the season, and I hope that less than 3 points separates them when that match happens. That would be so much fun. April 6th. So it's on the calendar. That would be so much fun.
Melionats has been pretty nasty for this team.
Yes.
As of late. He has been pretty good. So that to me, I might like that'll be if that comes down to that game, that'll be a banger to watch. Melionats against Jake Haynes. Jake Haynes trying to avoid relegation for 2 years in a row. Exactly. So that I think that's electric. Absolutely love to see it. Who is it going to come down to? Especially like what happens if like both of these teams have to play Katowice, right?
Looks like it.
No. Lublin doesn't play Katowice, but still, like Katowice they're not out of.
So
actually,
they do play. You confused Lubin and Lublin again, which I do all the time. But yeah, both Kuprum and Charny Rodham both play Katowice. So yeah, Katowice is only up by 3, and even like Suwałki is only up by 3 as well. And well, they're all up like 7 on where Charny Rodham is right now, though. So I think it'll come down to them and Kuprum Lubin. I hope that it's spicy going into match day 30. That would be great.
Yeah, Melionats was 16 for 24 in his last match.
Yeah, didn't they beat Norvid today 3-0?
Yeah, they beat Norvid today 3-0.
Very nice. Very nice. A little hopefully for them it's not too little too late, because they were the first half of the year, they were just horrendous.
I don't know like what Norvid is doing, but Mateusz Borkowski led them in scoring. He was 9 for 13, and he only started the 3rd set.
That's a little weird. Yeah, that's a little weird. All right. Anything else about Poland?
No, that's it from Poland.
What do you want to hit next?
Let's talk about the PVF. It was a small week in the PVF. There was only 3 games. Most notably, Grand Rapids ends their losing streak by taking down the surging Columbus Fury. Grand Rapids was on a 3-game losing skids. Columbus had won 4 straight, and then Grand Rapids was able to take them down in 5 on Saturday night, I believe, and it was a pretty good match. So also Omaha outlasted Orlando, and there's one game
Atlanta beat Vegas also on Saturday.
Vegas, yes.
Yeah, a bunch of Saturday games. There's actually a game going on right now. Vegas is up 2-1 on Columbus, and they're up like decently big in the fourth. So that match might be over. Also, Orlando plays San Diego tonight. I assume that's got to be on the West Coast. So
Yeah,
that one's
that's
coming
gonna
up
be it.
in about an hour.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Rob, as teams are starting to settle in. Like the coaching and game planning in the PVF is so important because there's not that much disparity of skill between teams, right?
No,
And
there's not.
it's going to be interesting to see. Like we say this every week, and I kind of sound like it's going to interested to see how it like expands. But like we've never really watched the creation of a league in this way, right? Like AU Pro Sports wasn't like this. It wasn't really real. So it's brand new for me to like watch a creation of the league. And it's interesting to watch the teams change and find their identities. And I'm seeing a lot of parallels between the PVS and the PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League.
Yeah,
because
there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah, there's just teams like figuring out their identities and kind of figuring out. I'll give half a point to the USA Volleyball for changing their ad, but still using the same audio. The thing that's pissing me off the most. And then also in some games recently, the Bolt 6 hasn't been working. So they've literally had like team. They literally had team coaches on the sidelines because they didn't have referees in the stands. So they literally had like coaches like dressed in like pointing in and out like as a damn club tournament.
No, that's not great. That's not great.
No. So
yeah, I'll turn on this night game tonight after the show and see what's going on.
Yeah, Orlando is right in the thick of things, I believe. Yeah, they're one game back of Grand Rapids for that fourth and final playoff spot. But still lots of games to be had.
Oh yeah, there's so many more games to play in the PVF. That's why I was saying last week I don't want them to hit like that mid-season lull where people kind of stop caring night in night out. So we'll see if they can inject.
I mean, they're definitely going to have to hit that, right? Like there's still a month. There's still a month and a half.
I know there's a lot more, but like that's where you the entity doing something media wise needs to come in there and help boost that up.
Yeah, there's still 2 months of the regular season left.
Right.
Of the PBF.
Right. That's a lot.
So that is a shitload.
I get back on the road this week for VLA ball, which I'm actually real excited about. We got 20 teams in Cincinnati for the Central Division Cup, 16 men's, 4 women's. Got a women's divisional cup tournament for the first time ever, so like full point value for those games, and 16 teams for the men. And we're doing our camera legend Michael Wooten will be there. We're doing like the NFL Red Zone style broadcast.
Is the whole fam coming?
I think just him and Kyung, not the kids, but yeah, it'll be good to get the band back together for that. And the VLA YouTube channel Saturday, Sunday. It's a cool broadcast. I think you guys will like it. We just cover all 4 courts. We keep it rolling. We whip around between all the games that are going on. It's solid. It's a good volleyball product when we can get Michael there.
Which tier 2 team is going to win this?
Neither of them. It'll be an all Chicago tier 1 final. Iceman versus Swede. I guarantee it. Although
guarantee it. Rob Sinclair, you guarantee it.
River City Flow from Richmond, Virginia. I think they will be very good as well.
I want the Unicorns to win because they have lightning. Oh no, wait, no, they don't. It's Kentucky. Why is the Unicorn logo there twice?
Because men's and women's, they have 2 teams.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask. I will have to say, the logos that you guys have in the VLA are top notch.
Thank you.
Like Team Pineapple used to be a good logo. It's shit now. You hear that, Lloyd Ball? Your logo is shit now.
Why, just because they're bad? I think it's still a great logo.
No! Look at the Nash Villains logo. Love that.
That's a great logo.
The vibes?
Yeah, it's Swedes.
The Milwaukee.
Swedes B team is the Chicago Vibes, and they're good too. 16 they're going to do some damage.
The little hummingbird there. Who's it? The Flow? Something City Flow?
River City Flow from Virginia. Yeah. They're very good as well.
The Milwaukee Dive is just a classic logo. Like, slap it on a beer, Steel City Surge too. Like
That's
the
a good
Steel
one.
City Surge, like it very much looks like the Columbus Fury logo of the PVF, but it looks like a PVF logo. So yeah, I think the Team Pineapple has to step it up a little bit.
Well, they just got to get better as well. That would certainly help. Yeah, going to be a good weekend. There's definitely going to be some promotional stuff on the line because I think like Milwaukee and Kentucky are kind of in a promotion race for Tier 1 next year. They both need 100. I think Milwaukee's at 81, Kentucky's at 76. So neither of them are going to get there this weekend, but by like VLA Cup, they both probably will be close. So that's one to keep an eye on. And Milwaukee's really good too. So yeah, this is going to be a fun event. I'm looking forward to being there. I haven't been in a gym. It's been a little over a month. So yeah, looking forward to that. We had VLA over the weekend too. Team LVC, unsurprisingly, continues to kick the crap out of everyone in the East Division. They look really good. And yeah, that's it. That's the latest VLA stuff from me.
Well, also Cleveland Kong, they've got 63 points. They got a cup win under them. Are they going to be any good?
I'm not sure. They haven't played yet this year, so we'll see.
Okay. So you got that PVF situation going over there where some teams have played a million games and other teams haven't played at all.
That's because they make their schedules. We don't make their schedules.
Bush League. Come on, Mickey Mouse. Well, guys, while you can watch Rob on the broadcast of the VLA, you're actually going to be able to catch me for once on a broadcast this upcoming weekend. We have the U Sports men's and women's volleyball final 8. I will be in Queens on the broadcast for some of the matches for the men's, but I've confirmed that I will be on the gold medal match, and that's really all that matters. I'm super excited for this one. Queens. So Rob, I don't know when we're done this show, and I suggest that anyone who's watching this, if you are from Canada, you know what I'm going to be talking about. But if you're not from Canada, search up Queen's University St. Patrick's Day. This is hands down one of the biggest St. Patrick's Day parties on the planet, and it will like shut down streets, and there will be like Mounties on horses corralling students because it is going to get sloppy. And that is on Championship Sunday, and I only have to do the final match. I don't have to do the 5th place match or the bronze place match. So things might get a little sloppy, but I'm very excited for this tournament. Of course, I was there last year, so there's going to be some good old Volleyball Source baseline videos for all of these matches. Let's just break it down. Sherbrooke got that number 1 seed. You have to see it.
When was the last time an RSCQ team was the 1 seed going into nationals?
I do not know. That is
crazy.
That is a very good point, Rob St. Clair. Thank you for paying attention to Canadian U Sports Volleyball.
Gotcha.
That is, as far as I've been around, that has never happened. That has never happened. Now, I am excited because I will be attending the ARC Athletes and Recreation Center at Queen's University, is where I saw my first ever U Sport National Championship back in 2012. So I'm stoked about that. But yeah, Sherbrooke getting that number 1 seed. 2nd seed goes to Alberta after they beat Trinity in the Canada West finals this weekend. McMaster defended and got the 3-peat over Queens in the OUA final. So they got the 3rd seed. Trinity Western gets that 4th seed, and they are going to be taking on the host Queens in that first quarterfinal match. That is going to be an absolute banger.
Oh yeah.
That is going to be an absolute banger, mostly because like Queens is like kind of like the Harvard of Canada. They have history. They have pride, right? So the last time when they hosted nationals back in 2012, they had the full-on band playing like it was March Madness for that game. So that one is going to be electric. Of course, they're playing Trinity Western. Trinity Western actually won that tournament back in 2012. And then to round out the rankings, we have UBC making their first return since 2018 to the national championships. They defeated Manitoba in the final. Was it Manitoba?
It's been.
Yeah, it was
they beat, but they got bronze in the Canada West, right?
Yeah, they beat Manitoba in the bronze of the Canada West. Laval will come in 7th, losing in the finals the RSCQ, and then Guelph making their first ever nationals appearance what 35-year history, I believe it is. So that is awesome. And also big shout out to, we have to give a shout out to Johnny Pickett. He is the starter of the 8x8 apparel brand. It's a beach volleyball brand. So 8x8 has, 9x9 has to give some love to the 8x8.
Love it.
These matchups I think are going to be really fun. Sherbrooke is going to smash Guelph. Guelph is definitely a thank you for participating team. I somewhat disagree. I'll be completely honest. I don't think the OA should have 3 teams. I don't think they're strong enough to have 3 teams. I would much rather see 4 Canada West teams here. But
interesting.
Yeah, if 4 Canada West teams would have been much better. Good ups for Guelph. I don't think the OUA is strong enough, especially right now, to justify 3 teams. I would like to see 4 from Canada West, 2 from the OUA, 2 from the RSEQ. We almost had more OUA teams too, but yeah, I digress. The other ones like Alberta Laval, you've got the 2 most storied programs in the history of Canadian volleyball with the University of Alberta against Laval, but I don't see Laval putting up a fight against Alberta. The Quebecois people in our Discord love to talk about how good the RCQ is, and I 100% think it's the second best league in our country. But let's get one thing straight: if that conference was as close as it was, Sherbrooke wouldn't have gone undefeated, right? Laval would have beat them, or Montreal would have beat them, or UNB or Dal, or someone, right? So you can't tell me that this is the most competitive conference in Canadian volleyball when you have a team that dominated the way that Sherbrooke did. Now, Sherbrooke is the best team in the league, don't get me wrong, but someone would have knocked them off, right? So don't come out here telling me that the RSEQ is the best, because that's straight up not wrong. Like, people are out here saying that UNB would be like a playoff team in the RSEQ, or sorry, in the Canada West, but they're saying that they'd be like a top 4 playoff team. And I was like, guys, like, slow your roll here. I liked watching UNB this year, but not that much. As I said, that Spartans Trinity Western versus Queens matchup on Thursday night, because this tournament is being elongated, so it's actually first day of the tournament. It's actually going to be Thursday.
I like that.
Only 2 games on Friday night. They're going to play the 2 semifinals on Friday night, the 2 consolation semi on Saturday night, and then we've got the finals on Monday. So Saturday night might be a bit party night. We'll see how she goes. But I really, really like this McMaster versus UBC matchup in the quarterfinals. This one might be a bit of a toss-up to me. UBC might be one of the best recruiting schools in Canada. They bring in some very, very good talent. So we're going to see how they're going to be able to do against this McMaster team. And of course, McMaster, like, this is going to be interesting this year, because you're going to have 2 teams who are there who aren't led by their usual leaders. Of course, Ben Josephson no longer at Trinity Western, and now Dave Preston no longer at McMaster. So like, those are 2 of arguably like 2 massive holes being left in Canadian volleyball. So we're going to see how this new era without them moves on. But this matchup between McMaster and UBC could be very, very interesting. Ultimately, I think I'm going to give the edge slightly to McMaster. They've had a really good season. They've got arguably one of the best right sides in Canada right now in Brendan Mills, who's super physical on the right side. Maxime Graton who's undersized, but he's been really good on the left side. And Robbie Fujisawa is probably one of the most underrated setters in the country, but they just don't have that. Like, they don't have a Sam Cooper player. Like, they don't have that star power that they've had from years past. And UBC has been kind of hit or miss. Ultimately, I do think we're going to see a McMaster versus Alberta semifinal, and a Sherbrooke versus Trinity final, which is fun because it's the rematch from the 2 medal matches from last year.
Love it.
Yeah.
So give me like who wins nationals, and give me one player that I should look at, because that for example, like Sherbrooke, I don't know a single guy on that team. I'm just shocked to see a French team come in as the number 1 seed. So, do you think Sherbrooke can win this tournament?
So I absolutely think that Sherbrooke can win this tournament. I mean, they brought back the majority of their team from last year. The only guy that they dropped was their P2, who basically scored like nothing for them. In my books, they have the best setter in the country, in Jonathan Portelance. And they've got like even Yohan David, who was their big first team all Canadian guy from last year, hasn't started in place of someone else. So there is a lot of quality on this Sherbrooke team. And Fetia Ahmed, their coach last year, I didn't believe in Sherbrooke that much. Like if you look at the national championships where they got bronze the year before, that one was a big question mark because we were still in COVID times and the restrictions for training across the country were so vastly different. Last year, when he told me that they were looking to improve on the result, I almost laughed in the meetings that we were having with them, and I was like, "You guys have Alberta in the semifinals." He proved me wrong and everyone else in the country wrong, and absolutely thumped what we thought was the best team in the country and didn't even give them a chance. This is pretty much the exact same Sherbrooke team. So yeah, absolutely. Like they have a chance to win and all. There's no doubt of it. And I think that if anyone didn't have them as the favorite, then you'd be crazy. However, they're playing Trinity fucking Western in the semifinals potentially. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. If there is one team who knows how to get better as a season progresses, it is Trinity Western, right? If you see that the amount of times that they've lost the Canada West finals to Alberta and ended up winning I swear to God, they have more national championship wins than they do Canada West wins. I don't know if that's 100%, but I do think that is something. But this Trinity Western team, I think, could potentially upset Sherbrooke in the finals. And we saw the way that they did it last year, and they dominated with their serving. Now, this Trinity Western team is a lot different. They don't have the Elsers. They don't have Hofer. Like that right there is absolutely gigantic. But they still serve very, very tough. So this one is honestly going to be a bit of a toss-up for me. I think Caden Schmidt is a guy to watch. Just in general, like he's a second year. He's really physical, comes out of the Pac-Man Volleyball Club. And then Henry Rempel as well.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, I know all about him on the right side for Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Henry Rempel is someone who we were talking about it in the Discord. And I said, maybe somewhat stupidly, that Henry Rempel might be one of the least skilled players to start for Trinity over the past decade. Now, on face value, that seems like maybe a bit of an accusatory thing, but when you look at the athletes that have played and have started for Trinity Western over the past decade, you could literally make a fucking national team and more. So like, don't come in to that. But he has improved so much this year by being the guy, and he's an absolute freight train. The Arc is a server's gym, especially with the one back wall being there, giving you that visual, right? Like it's so close to the court that everyone knows what it feels like to serve in a high school gym where the wall is close. You have that visual. I wouldn't be surprised if Trinity Western came through and won this all again. I really, really, truly wouldn't. I think that this is going to be a 3-horse race between Sherbrooke, Trinity Western, and Alberta. I don't think McMaster has what it takes to take down Alberta this year. But we'll have to see. Alberta's not as strong on the right side nor in the center position as they has been in the. We're seeing the results of the COVID years really affect U Sports volleyball right now. So there's a lot more parity than we've seen in years past.
Love it. Man, that's a fantastic preview. So these are everything's on CBC, including YouTube, right? I think at least to some degree, I had some success watching last year from the States. So definitely get in the Discord. We'll help all you guys figure out ways to watch this, because this is must watch no matter who you are, where you are, whether you're Canadian or not, it doesn't matter. Like, especially when it comes Championship Sunday, you have to watch the U Sports final. You have to. It's awesome.
When you look at the players who are playing in last year's U Sports final and where they're playing in the world now, like U Sports men's volleyball is hands down one of the best development leagues for international volleyball. Like, even if you look at like a guy like Jackson Young, who's been doing really good things for Friedrichshafen, like his team didn't even sniff a U Sports national final. So yeah, like you are going to see top level talent here who are going to be getting ready to play at that next level. So it's going to be an electric weekend. I absolutely can't wait for it. I think Queen's one of the universities is one of the best places to do it. I'm honored to be a part of the broadcast. And yeah, I'm going to get to do some play-by-play. I get to do some color. I told them I wanted to do all the games. They wouldn't let me do all the games. So I'll just be there. At least I don't get to do the shitty games like last year. Like, I'm on the gold medal match, and that's really all that matters.
Love it. Can't wait to listen and heckle you in the live chat if there is one. Also, the Women's U Sports Championship is this week. I don't know anything about any of this. Everett, do you know anything about any of this? I know you won't be there, obviously, but and I mean, I as an idiot American definitely know less about the history and the prestige of U Sports women's volleyball, because a lot of your talent comes to the NCAA. But I know there's still good ball.
Like Kier Van Rijk won 2 national championships with UBC, so like some of our best players still do end up staying at home, like Bree King, you know, Hillary Howe. There's quite a few of our best players that do stay at home, but you know, it's the U Sports women's volleyball isn't playing at par with NCAA women's volleyball. The way that the men are. But I mean, this was going to be a big one. Like Manitoba kind of upset UBC in that Canada West finals. They're going to get the 1-2 seeds because they're clearly the top 2 teams. UBC, the defending women's champs, as well. Manitoba is going to be taking on SMU for the first time in a long time out of the AUS. It wasn't.
What is the AUS?
So the AUS is the Atlantic University Conference, Atlantic University Sport. It's all for the Atlantic provinces. There's only 2 teams left from the old AUS, and that's why they play in the RCQ, and that's University of New Brunswick and Dalhousie out of Nova Scotia. So they all play together, and it's only 5 teams. But the AUS on the women's side has quite a few more other teams, like SMU, and both of these teams, SMU and Acadia, don't offer men's programs. Moncton doesn't offer a men's program, and neither does Memorial, and Cape Breton University as well. So the AUS is a bit of a lesser league, if I'll be completely honest. So Manitoba is going to be taking on SMU in the first round. UBC will be taking on the host, McMaster Marauders. Now, McMaster is, even though they are the hosts, they are the legitimate second team as well too. Like they are one of the best teams in the OUA. And
why on earth are they the 7th seed?
Because like everyone else in front of them is better.
Okay.
Like you have Brock, who comes in ranked at 3. Now Brock has been the top team. I'm pretty sure they were in the final. No, they made it to the finals last year. No, they didn't. It was a Trinity UBC final. I take that back. But Brock has been one of the top teams in the league all year long, and I'm pretty sure they might have even actually beat UBC they beat Trinity earlier this year in an exhibition. But Brock was actually down 0-2 and like 23-21 with the season on the line in the semifinals against TMU. In the OUA semifinals, was able to battle back and win it. So big ups to them. And then that last quarterfinal there, you're going to have an absolute classic with the Carabin de Montréal, the top team out of the RSEQ, taking on the Alberta Pandas. And I've forgotten. I know what you're thinking. It's the Golden Bears and the Pandas. And
there are schools in the NCAA that do that same thing.
One time at the first ever national championship that I attended as media, the 2014 one in Calgary, I had written an article about why I didn't think Alberta Golden Bears should be ranked number 1. So I went up to their then coach after their first win, Terry Danluck, and I was like, "Hey, coach, can I have an interview with you?" And he looks up and goes, "You're the guy who wrote that article about that. I didn't like that very much." And I goes, "I'm sorry, like I wrote it." And he goes, "All right." And I'm like, "Can I still have an interview?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." So like I set up my camera and I go, "All right, guys, here I am with." I'm nervous as hell because Terry Danluck is like Mount Rushmore, absolute like legend of legend, and here I am interviewing for the first time. He's already called me out, and I go, "Hey guys, I'm here with Terry Danluck, head coach of the University of Alberta Golden Pandas," and his face just like falls and looks at me, and he dives into me. So yeah,
awesome. We got to find that video.
It unfortunately is on the old channel. Moment of silence.
Yeah. Seriously.
But when we look at predictions for this one, I'm looking at a Manitoba UBC rematch in the finals. To be perfectly honest, I think it's going to be Manitoba against Alberta and Brock against UBC. I do see an outside chance. I'm not writing off Montreal that easily, but I do see Alberta outlasting them and then ultimately following Manitoba. I think it's going to be a UBC Manitoba final, and I think UBC is going to be able to take it.
Okay. Good predictions. Yeah, we'll watch U Sports. Everyone get in the Discord. The U Sports channel has been very fun even to somebody who doesn't know very much. There's been a lot of trash talk. There seems to be a lot of like sort of regional rivalry, a borderline regional hatred in your country.
Buddy, that goes way
past just volleyball. I know that.
And for me, I sit on the fence of it. as a franco-ontarien, as a French person from Ontario, I see both sides, and I find it's fucking hilarious. The Quebecois people do live in a bit of a bubble. Like
Of course they do.
They only really play each other, and they really hype each other up, and then ultimately it fails at nationals. Like I will remind them that the only 2 times they've medaled pre-pandemic, post-pandemic has been a different story. Pre-pandemic, the only 2 times they medaled at nationals in the previous decade, they hosted them, right? So like. But then again, like Quebecois teams have a fire and a passion that English Canada teams don't really understand, and they'll just slither out wins just by playing fantastic, like passionate defense and serving well. So it's going to be interesting. It's just the fire between the Canada West and the RSEQ, and then whenever the OUA tries to like pipe up, everyone's just like shut the hell up.
Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hearing you on the call. Yeah, Everett and I will both be involved in a bunch of volleyball over the weekend. We will see you all next week. If Everett's not too hungover, it'll be Monday. Hopefully, same time as usual. We'll figure it out.
I'm going to say now, probably not Monday, because I'll be making my way. We'll see. Let's play it by ear. We'll see.
We'll play it by ear. Thank you guys for watching.
On that, if anyone watching it right now and is going to the national championships and wants to drive me home on Monday, or even drive me there on Wednesday night, I would love that. If I didn't have to pay for rides, because Samson needs the car. So
it's out there in the world. All right, long show. Thank you all for watching. We love you. We'll see you next week, and join the Volleyball Source Discord.